Everybody ready?
Yep. Let's go.
Lothra, Lothcat, Lothwolf, run. Pick a path, and all is done.
War Midwest Guys presents Star Wars Rebels HQ.
Continue to allow this war to be fought on the Empire's terms. You are going to lose.
All paths are coming together now.
As long as we're together, we've got a chance.
At least we'll go down fighting. It's time to get to work.
Your TIE Defender is at risk. Krennic has been quite persuasive about his own project, Stardust.
Ezra, it's not whether or not we fight.
It's how we choose to fight that matters. I know, Kanan.
We were meant to be Jedi so we could be here now when Lothal needs us most.
All the paths are coming together, right?
I'm just not sure if we're going to like where they lead.
But we never imagined it would end like this.
All right, everybody, and hello and welcome back to Star Wars Rebels HQ. We're finally back after our long hiatus. We're finally here at the end of the road, guys. The last few episodes of the series ever.
I know, that's kind of crazy.
Today we'll be reviewing Season 4, Episodes 10 and 11, Jedi Knight / Dume. Here with me to help me do that today is Mr. Brian Ankerbar.
Hey, what's up?
And my brother Aaron.
Hey, how's it going, man?
All right, guys, so lots going on. A lot has happened. We're, like I said, we're at the end of the road here. Final few episodes. It's bittersweet all the way around. So let's just break right into it. We'll start with Jedi Knight. This opens up with the Kanan and the Jedi, his meditation. But it also seems like there's a lot more going on there. We hear what I would is the future. We hear not only lines from this episode, but the next episode, and maybe even some episodes we haven't even seen yet. What did you guys think about the whole meditation? I really liked it. I mean,
I thought it was a very well framed couple shots.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it really kind of sets the pacing for the episode.
Yeah, definitely gives you that sense of doom. Brian, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the listening to it because we're listening for those Easter eggs all the time.
Oh yeah.
Like the spoilers within episodes almost.
Yeah, so, and we're listening, we're like, ooh, that was Ezra saying something. Okay, who was that? You're listening to the whole... I thought it was a good placement of it, too.
Oh, I thought so, too. And I loved how the wolf was kind of growling. It's almost like the wolf was throwing it at him while he's meditating and listening and seeing glimpses of the future, or maybe just hearing it. I don't know.
I mean, if you watch how he acts throughout the rest of the episode, it does kind of seem it's almost premonition, if nothing else.
So do you guys think he knows he's going to die? Because that's a big spoiler alert. Oh, by the way, before we go any further, if you haven't seen these episodes, oops, you have been warned.
You've been warned too late.
A little late, but hey, spoiler alert. Let's replay
Flush the bombers, get the
tidbits on there.
We are at
Spoiler alert.
My sound effect, I should say. My awesome sound effect. Okay. So if you haven't watched it, stop. Go watch episodes 10 and 11. Don't go any further. And then bring us back. So, all right, you've been warned. So, yeah. So do you think Kanan knows he's going to die, or do you think he just has a premonition that something is going to happen? He's just not sure what, when, where, why.
I don't know if he's 100% certain, but I think he has a very heavy inclination towards it.
Oh, okay. Explain that. What do you mean?
Well, clearly he seems like the way he interacts with Hera later on, especially right before, he seems like there's something he wants to say, and he doesn't have a good sense of how things are going.
Okay.
Whether that's actually he's completely aware he's going to die or not, or just has a bad vibe about it.
It's a different story. Brian, what do you think?
That's what I was going to say. I don't know if it's so much that he knows he's going to die, as so much that he knows whatever's coming is heavy.
Right.
Because
something's going to happen.
Yeah, something's going to happen. He doesn't quite know what it is because, we'll get into it later.
Right.
But you could tell a look on his face.
The ominous.
That he didn't. Well, right before it happened, that he didn't realize that's how it was going to happen.
Right.
You can tell that. He knew something was going to... Everything meant more to him this episode, if you will. Everything was...
Every moment.
Every moment, was kind of living in... Every moment was
He's cherishing.
Yeah.
Every moment,
yeah. hey guys, may the force be with you.
Right.
Hey, let's do this. Hey, let's do,
Yeah.
It kind of felt like he was trying to live in every moment because he knew something was going to happen, but he wasn't quite sure.
How, what, when, where, and why.
Well, I mean, that also might be why he ended up trusting Ezra with the planning of Hera's escape as well.
Yeah, I do.
Is because he has kind of just a bad sensation about the entire
Bad
thing.
vibe.
And he doesn't want his own emotions to throw it off.
Yeah, which I think is a very Jedi thing to do, to be honest, if you get right down to it.
Yeah, like he was kind of aware he wasn't in the best place to lead and thus stepped aside.
Stepped out of the way and let him do his leading. Yeah, I definitely...
Also, I mean, if he does have a bad premonition about where he's going, letting Ezra starting to take on more leadership responsibilities is also a logical preparation for him.
Sure,
as well.
right. Because
and honestly, there's a couple of things in this episode you could view as almost prepping for him not to be there.
Yeah, I would say that that's very much the case, because you even hear... At the beginning, you hear Ezra's line from the next episode that, Canon, you didn't prepare me for this, and he hears that. He's aware of it. So yeah. So let's go on the next scene, which is just like the scouting, coming up with the rescue plan. I'm sorry, Hera's interrogation. So that's the next scene. So,
or what little bit of it?
Little bit of it. It's more of a
torture session.
It's a torture session. She's literally getting off by hitting that. They now have iPads and Star Wars. Yeah, Governor Price is sitting there hitting her iPad, and
it's the Sith pad.
It's the Sith pad, yeah.
Yeah, and Thrawn comes in and says, "What information have you got from her?" "Oh, I haven't even asked her a question yet." Hits it again and again.
I'm just enjoying myself.
Yeah,
like a little kid.
Button. Do scream.
She almost reminds me of like that little kid that you got like that magnifying glass on the ants. Remember, you burn them alive, kind of thing. And, yeah, kind of. I don't know. But yeah, showing her at her worst, I would say. And,
it's definitely sadistic side, if nothing else.
Albeit arrogant, although stupid. I mean, obviously, she's not as tactful as Thrawn, and is not...
No, like, don't get me wrong, she tries to do it from a mid-management sort of level throughout the episode, but it doesn't quite work out as much as she would hope.
Yeah, and what I really took away from this is obviously Hera's encounter with Thrawn. Because I think Thrawn does more damage with what he says than any amount of torture that Price throws, electrocutes her with, or does to her.
The bit about like
Her
at least
Calicory.
it'll be cherished by me, and like I'll actually have a genuine interest in it, and like you want this to actually live on after you're gone, sort of thing.
Well, and he's pushing her buttons by saying, what is this about a brother that died young and blah blah blah,
Right.
and you can just say it. You can just see it hit her hard.
Oh yeah, it hit her hard, and he's like, "You're not worthy to hold that." And he goes, "Oh yes, my apologies, but at least you'll know I'll appreciate it after you're gone." Just that little, jab there. It's really he already knows what he needs to know about the art piece. He's just doing it to
it's
to
meant
unnerve
to
her,
mentally push her.
To really bring her down a step. And this is more. This Thrawn we see in this episode is more the Thrawn that I remember from the books. He's much more ruthless, and he's
he's definitely getting to that point.
He's getting to that point now. He's becoming the sadistic person. He's mean about it, but he's everything he does has a point. But he's definitely a jackass and asshole and everything else. Antichrist rolled up into one. But yeah, so I enjoyed that scene just to see that we're finally seeing Thrawn be Thrawn, in my opinion. It's just a glimpse, but I like that quite a bit. So all right, so let's talk about the scouting and the coming up with the rescue plan scene. Wasn't a whole lot here other than number one, they go back to Ezra's tower. Which you think they would have guards on, or video surveillance on, or destroyed.
Yeah.
What'd you guys think about that?
I actually didn't think that much of it, to be honest.
You didn't put any thought.
I mean, most of this is kind of just slowly moving the story along and kind of giving the town information, so it's a plot advancement bit.
Okay. Gotcha.
But I don't think it's anything symbolic or anything.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in the same boat.
Okay. I just thought, I was like, it's a little out of place. I'm like, that's too easy. Because that's Ezra's old home. They've already been there before, where they captured Callus. Thrawn found him there. So Why wouldn't there be Death Troopers? Why wouldn't there at least be Stormtroopers there? And why wouldn't it be under surveillance for them to suddenly get
Well, it's outside of the main town, and they don't really seem to care too much outside of it.
It serves its plot point.
Yeah, but realistically, you would either destroy it or, like, something along those lines.
Yeah. What do you guys think of the Lothbat idea? About them using, suddenly, not only we find out there are Lothbats, but they found a natural way to basically, infiltrate the Empire, because the Empire's not looking for gliders.
It's funny. It's also kind of a plot hole you're jumping over to kind of justify it, because this is really the first time you introduce them.
Right.
And, like, don't get me wrong, these things are gigantic. These,
Well,
you would notice them in other scenes, right?
Well, all the animals on Lothal, even the Lothcat is pretty large, so they're all a lot larger.
Really that big.
Well, it's a little bigger than your normal cat, but
it's like a fox.
But you see the wolves are 10 times the size of.
Well, it's just one of those things. Like, there's been plenty of scenes on Lothal where, like, they're actually, like, in the city at night, and, like, these things you can clearly see just soaring past the city.
Yeah.
Like, you would think this would have popped up in a scene before.
The only thing I can think of is we haven't seen them before because they were attracted by the garbage, and they haven't been around garbage in Lothal, apparently. That's why they hang around. That was the thing I picked up on.
Oh, okay. I didn't pick up on that bit.
But Brian, did you like how they used, like, a natural, these Lothbats to create the gliders that look like the bats, and did you like that whole plot synopsis of?
I mean, it was
using
okay,
something
but
so low tech.
It was definitely the low tech primitive glider system that they used. They even threw in there was a little jab in there about how the Empire is ready for like high tech attacks,
right?
But they're not aware of primitive attacks because their scanners only pick up frequencies and stuff like that.
Engines, heat signatures.
Which is kind of like a nod to the Ewoks and that we'll see later on.
I think visually it was kind of nice, though. Like, it almost has, like, kind of a Nazca Valley of the Wind sort of vibe to it at times, and it kind of plays well with Hera later on, like a few scenes down, which was pretty amusing, actually.
Yeah, it does, actually. But yeah, so I enjoyed that, and it's a good point about the Ewoks. It's the primitives versus the war machine, so to speak, from Jedi. All right, so next scene. This is the big. I love this scene, the Kanan hair removal, plus them making the gliders. I love the idea that Kanan cuts his hair, shaves himself. He's preparing himself for battle in a way, kind of leaving a part of himself behind. Love all that. Love that scene. Didn't really need to see the gliders, and I absolutely hated the music for this whole scene. It's the only time in Rebels I can truly say that music sucks and it's completely out of place.
I didn't pay much attention to it
because the background music's like a da 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 da, like
like
a happy
jolly.
And jolly.
It was a happy montage.
Yeah, it really was, and I'm like, that's fine.
It kind of throws the tone off a little.
Yeah, and
don't get me wrong, you forget it like a scene or two later, but yeah.
And it's fine for making the gliders. If that's all they showed was a glider making, fine. But I mean, this is a big moment for Kanan, right? He's, this is the...
Quick question. Do they more or less give him something really close to a mullet?
To me, by the time he's done shaving his hair, he's got the, not the Jedi mullet kicking, but he has the Padawan...
It's almost like a faux hawk.
Yeah, almost. He has more of the Padawan look, because the Padawans have the hair like that, and then they have the one piece of hair they have in the back that they keep braided and stuff like
rat
that.
Tail.
Until they become Jedi. So to me... I found it very symbolic because I thought it was the end of Kanan Jarrus at that moment, and then he went back to being Caleb Dume, visually speaking.
I can kind of see where you're coming from. The bit I actually thought was really funny is, like, and you notice this later on, he leaves his, like, the main lock of hair, like, he actually leaves it on the table, like, with his actual visor.
Like he's seen the scene with the Calicori later in the, And,
well, it's just interesting because, like, it kind of goes back to, like, kind of more European chivalry sort of thing put right there. Like, generally it's a little of a reversal, but, like, kind of, like...
It's a sign of a transformation. Like, he's no longer...
No, not so much on the transformation bit, but, like, it's almost there for, like, as a keepsake for Hera.
Yeah, like, that's what I mean. Like, he saw what was going to happen, and he's like, well, I'll leave this for... Because just in case, I think I'm going to bite it. What do you think, Brian?
I mean, it could be. I didn't really put that together because even when you look at later on, when she does have that little piece, it's nothing of anything he left.
Yeah.
that little triangle that she puts on there.
Right.
It's not part of the mask because the mask is still sitting there,
Mhm.
and it's obviously not made of hair because it looks like a rock.
I
I
think
think it's
she
hanging
makes-
by the hair. That's my.
Oh, that, I mean, that could
Is
be.
it?
And when you said that kind of made a little more sense. But I don't know where she got the little triangle.
I just assume she made it out of like wood or stone or something.
Yeah. But anyway, these are all good points. Like I said, though, the music was just
Yeah.
so out of place, which is for Rebels to me is, I love Kevin. I think it's Kevin Kleiner. Anyway, the guy who does the music for Rebels is really good, and Filoni's very cognizant even of where he places the music in these episodes, and helps telling his story. I just didn't.
Do you think it was meant to have like a more Ewok reminiscent, like happy?
Yeah, it
feel?
kind of had like a real like la di da di da. We're all happy. This is the last. Maybe he was trying to convey the last time they were happy together. But to me,
You feel like it kind of, if that was the goal, it kind of missed the mark a little.
well, just don't put Kanan's transformation scene to me. His cutting of his hair and shaving of his beard. Don't put that scene with it. Make that
Like tonally, they're very
separate.
opposite.
They're very opposite to me. If you want to do that, with, like I said, with the glider scene, I'm cool with it. But I really had a problem with that music. Especially being a fan of Star Wars music in general.
Well, it needed to have that slow Star Wars like.
Force.
This is an important part of this part of this episode when he's cutting his hair and it's symbolic and everything else. Instead, it's like bum 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 bum.
Yeah,
It's like what the?
Yeah, exactly. It's
I
like
got a date tonight.
yeah, exactly. Right. I just it's the only part of these two episodes I hated it, but it was so out of place, and I was just like, man. What was I going to say? I was going to make a point about music, but
Well, I mean, even Filoni on his Twitter account, when they did finish the music for all the stuff, he made a point to say, "Music's finally done. Love this.
Yeah.
Love the soundtrack for the last episodes."
yeah.
And then we get to that, and you're like, "What?"
You know what I would have loved them to use? The music at the end of season 2. When they're fading out at the end, they come back from the temple, and you get that dun dun dun. You kind of watch him slowly. You kind of give it like a transformation. Even that would have been better. It would have been perfect.
I
but it
feel
would
like
have been better.
that might have built it up too much. Like
Or-
it's almost like showing the death way too soon. Like, or it's making it a little bit more visible.
Or at the very least, just play the Force theme. It's so that's just such an iconic piece of music, and it's a sad piece of music. So I don't know.
Like, did you hate it when you saw it, or did you hate it when you saw it the second time and after you saw Kanan's death?
I hated it both times.
Okay.
Honestly,
I was just curious
Yeah.
because it's one thing if, as you're watching, you're like, okay, as you're watching, but then you realize what happened later, and you're like, what the fuck was that music doing there?
Yeah, exactly. And and I thought it might change because now that I've gotten over the but seeing what happened, no.
Oh no, I didn't like it from the beginning either. It felt out of place.
Very
I mean,
much so.
it's a weird little bit in it, but I really feel by the time you get like an episode or two, or like a scene or two later, like it's really one of those things that just goes to the back of your mind.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk briefly about leaving the rebel camp, which is the next scene. This is kind of this was a nice scene, just I guess because this was Kanan and Zeb's last kind of moment together. I felt like that was the whole reason for the scene, I guess. I don't know. What'd you guys think about watching the gliders take off and whatnot? It was that.
I think visually it works well.
Yeah. Kind of.
Well, I thought it was kind of weird that they're that far away.
Yeah, I did think about that.
Like they're that far away.
They're in the southern hemisphere. Or
yeah. And then they go start flying, and I thought it was even weirder that Chopper was the one holding on, and he jumped onto the speeder that Zeb was driving. I was like,
yeah, it was just kind of
like Chopper can fly. He's boosters.
Yeah.
So why isn't he just flying, or why isn't it just attached to the speeder? Like why?
Yeah.
Like it travels a very far distance. I don't know, but if you like look at how they enter the city, like they do seem to like almost dip and go forward and like give themselves a good extra mile or two.
We were talking about the wind on the when they.
There must be some serious wind on
Yeah,
Lothal.
serious wind because they're flying way out in the field.
Yeah.
All the way into the city, and they get into a certain point, and Ezra just goes, "Hey, let's go up." Okay, let's go up.
It's just like you have the ability to go whatever you want once you're in the air.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, they would have been better if they had had like Sabine flying a stolen TIE fighter and taking them halfway and then releasing them and high up in the atmosphere. Or something.
That's what I was gonna say. I would have rather seen them, like from a ship, and just jump out the side of a ship and
glide out.
Mhm.
Yeah, that'd been cool.
Well, it's one of the things, like, if it has that much wind on the planet, you would expect there to be, like, more dust storms, more, like, sand tornadoes, things like that.
I understand most of
something you haven't really seen in the atmosphere.
I get it that most of it's, those really conish mountains and plains.
Which, I mean, does kind of suggest
there's
something,
wind.
yeah.
Right. I don't know.
But that also could just be suggestive of age.
But, again, suspension of disbelief, and it is a plot point, so...
Yeah, well, I mean, it just goes to the world-building aspect of it.
Precisely.
Which is part of what, keeps you in it in some ways for certain series.
Yeah, and we're probably getting too Star Trek-ish with it, too technical, really, but because it is fantasy, but still.
Fair enough.
So, all right, let's see. Oh, yeah, Stardust versus the TIE Fighter. I love this scene. The whole, you had Tarkin on one side, and you've got Thrawn on the other. There was Brian, you brought up some great points here, because my point is that Tarkin is in such competition with Orson Krennic, which is the developer of the Death Star from Rogue One, right? The main villain in Rogue One, that he's trying to prop up Thrawn to get in the way of Krennic and the Death Star. But Brian, you had an interesting point that you brought up with a counterpoint almost to that.
Yeah, because like in the book, it said that Krennic was, I mean, not Krennic, but Tarkin was backing the Stardust project for a decade.
Right.
Well, that might have been true, but if he didn't get the results quite right away, that might have been a thing where he grew impatient with it.
Right. But what the way he puts it out there to if he was back in the Stardust project, because we even saw that in Rogue One, that he was back in the Stardust project.
Yeah.
But when we see him with Thrawn, he kind of throws it out to Thrawn like, I don't know, the Emperor's kind of leaning towards the Stardust project, but I set up a meeting for you, so you'll have to go there in person.
Right. So you almost feel like he's playing them against each other.
Yes, and that's because it just felt.
It does seem like a thing the Empire would do.
Yeah, and it just felt like that because it was like, because if he was really back in the TIE Defender, he would have been fighting for him there anyway, and Thrawn wouldn't have had to go in person to go do it.
So putting his two enemies against each other allows him to be
but
he can kind of collect whatever residues left, essentially.
Yeah, and Tarkin's above Krennic, isn't he?
He's a Moff at this point. He's not a Grand Moff yet,
but he's above Tarkin.
But he's above.
I mean Krennic.
He's above Krennic, yes.
Right, and that's
wait. Is this position actually a Moff?
He's a Moff now because even Thrawn says, "I'll be there right away, Moff Tarkin." He refers to him as Moff now.
I was not aware that was actually a title.
It is. It's like there's only been, I think Tarkin was the only Grand Moff, like it's the highest you can go, and then you got the Moff, which is like the Imperial Army.
Yeah, Moff like stands for military authority something.
I have to look it back up. But yeah, so him and Thrawn are kind of on equal levels because you got a Grand Admiral.
Who is?
Thrawn and Tarkin in a way, although Tarkin probably slightly outranks him.
Oh no, I don't
because
think so.
But the difference is Thrawn is Imperial Navy and Thrawn is more Imperial Army. But
they don't have Army and Navy.
Semantics is semantics.
I think Thrawn reports to Tarkin.
Okay.
I mean that's what we've seen throughout the show.
It kind of seems that way in this scene.
Yeah. I think he reports to him.
Yeah, because essentially you have Tarkin acting as a middleman between him and the Emperor.
Yeah, it's kind of like what you have in like warehouse work, where you have the supervisor, then you have the area supervisor, who is over 3 different supervisors. Yeah. And then you have the manager. So the manager is over the area supervisor and the supervisors.
So you're saying Tarkin's the area supervisor in this scenario, in that scenario?
I guess. Or Thrawn's the area supervisor, and the Moff means manager.
Right.
So he's over him by like one step.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like that in their dialect, and he seems very like he takes the order and goes, "I'll be right there." Now, whether that's because he wants his TIE Defender or whether he's
it does seem like it's to play his own agenda. Like, no, I am not letting that other efforts project win.
Yeah. Now that's where I think the real battle is, like the real like competition is between him and Krennic.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
I don't know, but like
he wants the Death Star, obviously.
I think there's actually a good argument for both projects, though, if we're being honest. Like, don't get me wrong, is like the Death Star a great, like,
military speaking?
Yeah, I mean, it's the nuclear bomb of intergalactic war, but just having better ships and, like, gives you a military advantage in, like, the day-to-day.
Right, but at the time, they don't know the benefits of the Death Star. It's all in theory right now.
Only Tarkin, Krennic, and probably the Emperor and Vader know at this point, would be my guess.
Well, I don't even think they know because it's not built yet.
Well, they don't know. But
so they don't know remember, because it even has that line later on in Star Wars that says the full power of the blah, blah, blah.
Don't be, yeah.
Yeah, so nobody really knows what it is until they try it out on Alderaan.
Well, that's when they first blow up a planet. Yeah, they just fired in Rogue One, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah, on Jeddah. All right. So, yeah, it's good points. Great discussion. So, yeah, hopefully whatever next animated series we get, I'd like to see. Well, I don't think we'll see Tarkin in it, but I don't know.
It depends on when it takes place.
Yeah. It's true.
Also, whether we're assuming Tarkin makes it past this or is going to be included going forward.
It'll be interesting to see if there's any more of that dynamic that plays through. We've only got 3 more regular episodes and then the
finale.
Well, we know Tarkin makes it out of this.
Yeah.
We know
Hera
makes it out of this. Chopper makes it out of this. Those are the only 3 we know for sure. Other than like Vader and Emperor.
Well, obviously
and
Vader and the Emperor.
But those 3 we know for sure make it out of this.
I mean, it'd be a hell of a thing if they kill off Vader and it's like, oh yeah, no, Vader threw like 4 and opposites clone. Don't worry about him.
Nah,
that would cop out there.
Vader clone.
That end of Star Wars. Period.
Right fans would be so pissed off, wouldn't they?
How to piss off your fanboys?
Yes, and through him in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. All right, let's move on. Next scene, guys. The landing of the gliders and the rescue of Hera by Kanan.
The loudest shit landings.
Like, where's the stormtroopers? Are they deaf?
What was one of those things? As soon as they land, you're like,
see or hear
those damn loath bats.
Apparently, stormtroopers can't see to shoot or shit, and they can't hear either.
Right. We got no ear holes.
But it's another kind of funny bit because you do have, like, as they're gliding over the city, you have the stormtroopers like, oh, I don't see any loaf cats.
Yep, thank God.
Yeah, those things are a pain in the ass.
Which means those are the same 2 that got ran off by that loaf cat earlier, which makes it even
Which
more
are
funny.
most likely also the same ones that went to, like, check on them later on and, like, just get tossed out.
Yeah, which is hilarious. That they, I liked how they keep that bit running a little bit. That's pretty funny. I really liked how they used how Kanan rescues Hera. You know, with the lightsaber from below. And
well, not just that, but like we also have like the little magnetic climber things. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was very Mission Impossible,
James Bondy, right?
Yeah, or Mission Impossible-esque. What'd you think, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, I really liked what he was like, you know, may the force be with you, and then all of a sudden he just,
that was a good scene too.
And he just kind of jumps backwards, puts his hands down, and drops. Just like they do. I mean, you can see it on the trailer in Black Panther, but he does the kind of the same thing where he drops straight down real fast. But it was pretty funny, and then they added the comedy in there because Hera's got a truth serum where she's like high as a kite.
Yeah,
and she goes, funny to watch. And she's like, "Kanan's here." Oh, you're delusional. Price is like, "Oh, you're delusional."
I pushed you too hard.
And I wonder how he's going to get in. And then
you guys are in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, and then he cuts the floor, and he goes, "Oh, I really thought he would come through the window." It's so funny.
It was great. Did you guys notice the music?
Yeah, you brought it up to me. I recognized it, but I didn't place it at the time.
It's the same music they use when they go to rescue Princess Leia.
Is it?
Just ever so slightly. It's only like maybe 10 seconds long.
No, I hadn't noticed that.
But yeah, so they got that kicking, which was
I was just very amused by Hera's entire dialogue throughout this entire bit. So I wasn't really focusing.
And she definitely reminds you of like your drunk friend that you meet at the bar. Yeah. And she's like, wait. I got to tell you something. I hate your hair.
At the same time.
And he's like, okay.
It's not like I had a mirror. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was pretty funny because it was.
I love when he gives her the gift or like her one. Yeah. And she's like, "This is mine. It's not really a gift."
Yeah. It's not really a present.
I like as soon as he picks her up, he's like, "Oh, we're in a special kind of mood thanks to the probe drive."
Yeah. That was so funny.
That was hilarious.
But the funny thing is, like, and then you kind of get up to where she's back up with that glider. Like, I want to fly this one.
You guys came in on that? I want to try it. Yeah, you would.
Yeah.
Yeah. You fly it.
You fly it this time.
You fly it. Can you get us to the fuel depot?
The funny thing is, they're like, once like kind of blasters start going, like she kind of is like, oh yeah, shit, got to do something. Like she's kind of gets back in her headspace pretty quickly, actually.
The other thing I wonder, this kind of puts a little relevance because you see that probe droid, and that's the same one Vader used on Princess Leia. So how fucking strong is Princess Leia?
Well, no,
to endure that same kind of torture.
And I thought the same thing because I was like, oh man, it's the same droid. I said, so it's not really going to do a whole
kind.
bunch. But at the same time, they came to Hera right after it, and there was some time lapse in between when Leia got hers and when they came to get Leia because she was actually laying down sleeping.
Oh yeah,
So I think it was if they would have shown extra parts of that where she got probed or whatever.
Yeah.
I think we would have seen more of that like
loopy Leia.
Loopy
Leia. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying that because Vader says she resists the mind probe. How strong was she? Because not only does she get hit with this shit,
well,
but
Harry kind of did too.
Yeah,
like,
she did too.
Like she didn't give out any information, so I mean, it was.
They didn't really have a whole lot of time.
So these probes are pretty bad.
But I'm just saying, if you take, so you just got liquored up by this probe droid.
They're fun drug droids, apparently.
Yeah, exactly.
You get this great drug droid, whatever, and then you have to deal with the Dark Lord of the Sith, who's probably going to mind probe you with the Force. That's
is that a power we see
resistance
between 4 and 6? Because I wasn't thinking that's something you really see until 7.
It's never really revealed,
yeah.
but Vader does read Luke's mind in Jedi, so he does have the ability.
Okay, so when you see that, like, and later on in the newer films, it's not really that big an extension, then.
Right, it's not. It's just a lot more forceful use of it. So, but yeah, it just made me wonder. I'm like, man, Leia's got some serious powers after all. Maybe she had those Force powers the whole time and just didn't know she had them.
It kind of hints at it.
Well, I think that's really. She doesn't really realize she has the powers until they're on Endor.
Right,
and
Luke
Luke's like,
yeah.
Luke's saying like, and I have a sister, and she's like. And he goes, and the Force is strong with her too. And and I think then she kind of put 2 and 2 together.
And suddenly, I got this. Yeah, it was like wow. It just kind of put things in perspective for me, just from a greater overall Star Wars universe.
I mean, if we're going from the last film, she magicked herself back into a.
Yes, she did, and you know what? I'm kind of accepting that now because we saw it in Rebels. Kanan did it when just last season. He did it when Maul pushed him out the airlock. He does the same thing.
Yep.
Albeit a little bit more jumbled, but still, and there's evidence.
He didn't come back from the dead to do it.
Well, there was evidence though that Vader can sustain himself with the dark side of the Force too, while he wasn't able to breathe in his own suit from the comics. So to me, it's
not that much of an extension of what's already there.
It looked hokey, but from a Force mythology perspective, I guess it's not really that far out of the range. Just to throw a little defense out there, I guess. I don't know.
Oh no, I like the film. I'm just
to get all nerdy for a second.
Fun.
Well, what am I talking about? It's a Star Wars podcast, for crap's sake. All right. Next up, escaping Lothal City. I liked how they obviously used the gliders again, and Hera got to use it.
Yep, this is where Kanan loses his lightsaber as well.
Right, and you see...
Which is actually a really good little fight scene. It's really short, but it's good.
It's really good. Obviously, Rook is no match for Kanan.
Yeah,
but he does take his Jedi, he does take his saber away from him.
I think he's the only person I've ever seen who's actually deflected the Jedi actually getting their lightsaber back with, like, the Force pull thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you see that anywhere else.
Well, I think it even took Kanan by surprise.
Like he just did that on instinct, essentially. It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Now, granted, Kanan is still blind, but he still uses the Force pretty well. So,
yeah, I mean, he doesn't really seem a weaker fighter for being blind.
No, not at all. If anything, he seems stronger.
Yeah.
That kind of blind master kind of thing. What did you think, Brian, about that whole fight scene in particular?
Yeah, that fight scene was okay. I'm not a big fan of Rook. Haven't been since we started seeing him.
It's fair.
But I did think it was rather odd. I brought this up to you about the Death Troopers.
Yes.
Like we see the Death Troopers come in, and then they're starting to shoot at Hera and Kanan, and they miss.
Yeah.
It's like, hold on a second. If these are supposed to be the elite,
They're elite for stormtroopers. They hit 1 out of 50.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like it just felt.
1 out of 25 shots. That's good for a stormtrooper.
And the blind Jedi with a blaster can take care of those guys. And then as soon as those
a stone Hera can take them out too.
As soon as those 2 or 3 people are gone, and then you got the regular stormtroopers that come in and they start shooting all over the place, and it's just like, when are the Death Troopers? Because they weren't anything in Rogue One, they weren't anything in this. It's like, when are the?
They got better armor. What more do you want?
They were supposed to be some kind of badass. We haven't seen it.
The only The only counter
Wait till the
argument.
last Death Trooper comes out in film.
It's
really when they'll redeem themselves.
The only geeky counter argument I will give you is that it is
That they're cool.
that it is the Force. The Force is preventing them from making shots.
Really? So, at that point, are you justifying the aim of all stormtroopers?
Now, wait a minute.
So you're saying that the Force causes the stormtroopers to miss?
Yes. Now,
it
think about this.
slowly bends
Time out.
the bullet away.
Now, give me 10 seconds. So, go to Rogue One. Remember Rogue One?
Yeah.
Remember Chimmerwit, Donnie Yen's character.
Yeah.
And how he kept saying, I'm one with the Force is with me, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Believing in the Force. And he didn't get hit by any of those laser shots as he got out and was able to get the control.
Yeah, but that was almost like
the comm.
Okay.
That's the Force protecting him.
Yeah, but that's almost like a different variation of using the Force.
It's like a Force faith, but nevertheless, it's still.
But I don't think it's. I don't think the Force is doing that all the time for everybody.
Not for everybody, but for.
But you know what I mean, like
for the chosen few, the camera watches.
Yeah, exactly. For the ones that we get to see on camera.
Well, no,
it's
really,
plot armor. Don't worry about it.
Let's think about this for a second. So the dark side, at this point in time, is everywhere, and it's all powerful and it's out of control. So why wouldn't you have the light side have a select few that it kind of protects?
No,
I mean you can do that, but it really takes some of the drama
it's
out of the entire thing, doesn't it?
Completely out of question.
So you're saying
not that they know that.
So you're saying when Luke and Leia were getting shot at,
that
it was really the Force was protecting them, and they didn't really have to worry about it.
Well, they
could have just walked on.
Yeah, we'll see ya.
They don't realize it.
Go ahead and shoot.
I'm not saying they don't realize it. I'm not saying that they don't have skill to dodge them either, but I'm saying it's working in conjunction with them.
That might
you can make the argument for it, but I feel like in terms of a plot element,
it depends on how you look at the
really
Force.
makes everything less
is the
serious.
Force is the Force alive, or is the Force just something that the Jedi use? It's power.
In the original films,
So you
it's
think
probably more power-ish.
So you think the Force has a mind of its own?
Yes, the wills of the Force. The will of
we
the
start
Force.
seeing that pretty much by Clone
I don't
Wars.
know.
I'm just saying.
In his defense, by the time you get to like some of the later bits in Clone Wars, that is becoming more and more part of the canon.
Yeah, I was joking.
I know.
Yeah.
So I'm just throwing it out.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah. I do understand like what you're saying, but it just I don't know about the whole like making them miss.
It's
although
bending it away
I
from
really would like to see like just like a training session of like the troopers like at a gun range
and see how good they
actually are without like what you're saying. That would be
eventually stormtroopers get pissed off, throw off their helmet, start firing and actually hitting.
I know he's like I don't get it. I shoot.
Careful there.
I don't
fall off.
Yeah, I don't get it. I hit 10 out of 10 targets in the practice range. How come I can't hit anything here? Then it would make sense, right? But the way when you like it just I don't know.
Well, it's just a counterpoint argument. It doesn't necessarily, it's debatable. So, all right.
But I mean, the funny thing is, by the time we start seeing Episode 7 where Kylo Ren can actually do the thing where he's just stopping a bullet, it would be far less effort to just...
Yeah, exactly. If the Force, if they're...
just as a Force ability, it sounds way cooler.
How come we haven't seen that anyway?
What's that?
Like someone just bending like the actual blaster, off the side, like just diverting it.
I think you will as we go forward. Obviously, they didn't have the technology when they made the originals.
Yeah.
I mean,
but we haven't seen it in.
They're still doing like the lightsaber thing.
We didn't see the lightsaber deflect a blaster until we got to Jedi. That was the first time it was ever done.
And we haven't seen I was surprised. I mean, this isn't Rebels, but this is
no, that's fine.
With Episode 8,
yeah,
I was surprised we didn't like. Kylo Ren can stop a blast with his hand, and it just stays in the air.
Why can't Luke do it?
Yeah, why didn't we see that again?
Yeah, it's
a cool trick.
There's actually, that cartoon How It Should Have Ended. Mm-hmm. They do that with the Last Jedi. They have Luke actually stop him and then reverse all the blast bullets back at the walkers.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, actually,
in the cartoon,
I like how they ended The Last Jedi, but
that's pretty badass.
There'd been a badass thing. It was just like all these ships are useless,
which was better than my idea. My idea was to have him just use the Force and tip them all over like dominoes. But
I got to be honest. The actual reversing all the blasters back is way cooler idea.
I agree. So
all your walkers are nothing.
Anyway, so and if he's gonna go out, why not do it? Anyway, okay, so. Where were we?
Escaping Lothal City.
Escaping Lothal City. All right, moving on. So let's get to the final scene, the big scene. I I find it interesting, and this is going to the fuel depot, and obviously Kanan's sacrifice. I find it interesting that Kanan said, "Go to the fuel depot. Can you make it to the fuel depot?" Not that he. Do you think he did it strictly as just a pickup point as part of the plan?
I think,
or did he actually understand the greater plan that might happen? If they're going to take us out, then or take me out, then at least I'm going to take the factory with me, and at least take away their abilities.
A good way of looking at it, but I actually think it was just a very recognizable spot.
In reality.
Because it's a way to easily kind of get to a high point for it to be picked up.
Okay. What do you think, Brian?
Well, yeah, I mean, on that point, it was when you watch him go off, it is the only well lit area in that whole like town part.
Yeah, and it's
like,
high.
Yeah, it was the only well lit area, but I do think Kanan wanted Hera's plan to work. And that's why he said go to the fuel depot, because he kind of knew
he'd seen it
that they're going to try to blow it up, and if they blow up the fuel, then they're going to cut their own throats
in the process. Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I think even going back to our conversation about the will of the Force, maybe the Force led him there. Same kind of thing. I know I see Brian shaking his head, but it could be that too.
You see the Force go, and it blows him there. That's where the wind comes from, is the Force. The Force wind.
Just keeps gliders in the air for days.
Yeah. Reach out. You feel that? Yeah, I do. What is that? That's the Force. You're really strong with it.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah. Last Jedi. Anyway, yeah. I think it was twofold. I think he knew what he was doing. I think that was part of his plan. But I think it was. But yeah, I thought it was a great move, and it was a great pickup point, obviously. And if they killed two birds with one stone, not too literally. So yeah, I thought it worked out. But let's get to the actual death scene. Brian, I know you have one. You think Kanan could have survived it. Explain what you were telling me.
Well, yeah, because when you watch one right before it happens, and the shot goes on the one side, he runs to it.
Right, to hold it back.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
And then he's only doing it with one hand, right? Because he's doing it with two first.
Yeah.
Then Hera's coming.
Right.
And he stops her.
Right.
Now, why couldn't he backpedal all the way to the
side of the
ship? So two things. One, why couldn't he just backpedal up to the ship, get on the ship while he's still keeping it at bay?
And then
push it away as it explodes.
Either that,
that's
or just
one.
kept like the little force field up,
right,
falling back to the ship, and just had the actual explosion propel them by keeping them safe.
Right, or
force push off,
or Ezra can do the same thing, if not more powerful than Kanan can.
Ask for Ezra's help.
Yeah, because they've done that before, where they've even taken each other and they've force thrown each other.
Yeah, that's true.
So. Why could he done that? Like, why? I don't understand.
He could have communicated a plan to actually have alternating
exactly.
plots.
Like as soon as he starts holding it, he's like, Ezra, pull me when I blah 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 or whatever he says, and that would have been awesome.
Right.
Because it would have been like he held it back and then they pulled him in. It was awesome. Blah blah blah. Instead, it was just like although I do like the way it happened, and he got his eyesight back, and he got to see Hera one last time.
It was awesome
when he got to see his eyes came back. And their eyes connected. You see Hera's eyes get real big because she knew it was happening.
Yeah.
And he got to see her one last time with his own eyes. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
No, the entire scene was amazingly well done. Don't get me wrong, there's definitely ways like that could have been done differently, but just like visually, it was amazing.
And again, going back to the music, the music was awesome. Whatever that was, it's hard to monks chanting or whatever the heck it was. It was ominous. It was fitting of a heroic ending. It just really captured the moment, the scene, everything. The only thing I can think of, Brian, is because he just kissed Hera, and because Hera finally told him that he loved him. Maybe he was emotional. He went out to try to save her. Self-sacrificing by trying to save the ones he loves, kind of thing. Like emotion. The whole thing about having Ezra lead in the first place, so he doesn't get emotionally. Maybe this is one time where
it's an example of it.
Maybe that was the only thought I could have. Because I was with you, I was like, why can't he just force push himself away, which was a great point. But I just don't know. Maybe the emotions got the better of him there. I don't know. But it was a great heroic scene. The blast, everything. I even loved how they ended the episode with the black and white rebels and get the ash falling down on it.
I thought that was a really good kind of fade out for it.
It's
thematically, it's like just really nice.
Yeah, and I don't think they could have made it any more graphic because it's a kids show, but I think they pulled it off. They really did.
I think you probably did as much as you could, especially towards the beginning of the next episode as well.
Yes.
Like, while still keeping it on Disney.
Yes, it's a kids show, right?
Yeah.
And keeping that PG or very, very bent PG.
It's getting really closer and closer to PG-13 as one person has, like, a mental breakdown from grief.
Pretty much, yes. So, that's definitely some hard things. I imagine there might be some kids be like, "Mom, Dad," let's face it.
Yeah.
So, but
I don't know. I thought getting that. I guess we'll get to that in a little bit, but it's actually really kind of refreshing to see that being an element, not just like, well, we move on and we do the best sort of thing.
Exactly.
Like it's a real good emotional element.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so that brings us to the end of Jedi Knight. We'll now move on to the second episode, which was Dume. So we'll just keep moving, guys, and then we'll do grades at the end. First scene, we come back. They open. I think they open. No, they don't. First scene we see is Price inspecting the damage of the refinery, the fuel depot.
Yeah, and getting a report from one of her higher higher up supervisors, if you will, or whatever.
Right.
Like with a rundown of what's going on. Mm-hmm. We lost all of our fuel. All the plants are down.
The factory's dead.
Yeah. Pretty much from Thrawn's point of view, you just royally effed up.
Fucked him.
Yeah, like you just destroyed years of planning.
Especially if he's at the Emperor right now trying to make his case. Now he has no fuel to build them with.
Yeah,
so.
Like a 6 to 9 month delay, which is probably what that'd be, if not more.
If not more, yeah.
Really gives him a disadvantage in that sort of situation.
Especially,
and she's like, it's kind of funny. She's almost trying to distract from it, but she's like trying to play up her own thing. Like she's
looking for an out.
Yeah, she tried to prioritize her victory over Thrawn's loss, even though she's underneath him.
Exactly. She's trying to cover it up. That's what she's trying to do.
Right, exactly.
Well, then she's trying to build herself up higher. Like, in her mind, that's a resume builder. You killed a Jedi.
You killed a Jedi, right.
At the same time, you destroyed years of planning from someone higher up.
Yeah. Well, we already know what happens, but it makes sense if you think about this whole timeline right now, because if we're right on the doorstep, literally, of Rogue One at this point, so
we're probably in Rogue One at one point, or at least we're in between.
We're getting very damn close at this. I mean,
I think if we're not,
we may be even at the very beginning of it.
Yeah,
right?
like I think by the time you get to like the flashback scenes in Rogue One, I think we're probably already in that timeline.
We're pretty close, and if not, we're right before it. And
because essentially, there's the flashbacks are 10 years before the rest of Rogue One.
Yeah, roughly, because she's a little girl.
Yeah, so I think we're probably in like that timeline by how we have this set up already.
But if you think about it, so the Death Star is almost complete at this point. So why wouldn't the Emperor say, well, you don't have any fuel, you can't build any TIE fighters for the next 9 months anyway. So yeah, I'm going to put all my resources to
But the thing I don't understand about that, though, if you are proving this is a better design, you probably have other bases to build TIE fighters, right? Couldn't you just modify those factories?
I got a feeling that this is the Lothal is the industrial complex of the entire one of many, maybe one of many, but is one of the few areas where you have all the concentrated. It's like your Nagasaki, right? It's like one of your big industrial complex cities.
Like, don't get me wrong, like I'm sure.
Planet, but,
I understand, like, this was probably the test fleet that they were building, and, you still want to have further data, but you do have some data just from, like, the individual test models.
Well, I'm sure, he could probably allocate resources, but that's still going to take time. Yeah. To
well, it's just saying, like, if you had other tied to, like, Defender, like, production facilities, you might be able to modify them to...
You might, but it might take time.
Yeah. But it might take, like, a similar time range.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the other thing I don't understand is, yes, they blew up the fuel farm, whatever, but what's to stop him from bringing fuel back?
Right. That's
you'd have to rebuild all the processes that are connecting it and such.
Right, but they could still bring fuel back.
Sure, if the Emperor wanted to. Right, but obviously he's.
It also would depend on how expensive that much fuel is, because it's essentially fuel depots that are the size of, like,
Epcot.
Yeah.
So the Emperor's just going to want to, put all of his resources towards at the Death Star.
Well, they did say the factory was damaged with the fuel farm.
Right. Yeah. Right. So they lost, everything, essentially, other than the factories maybe themselves, part of them. All right, and then I like the scene. We go right back to the opening Rebels, and it's the black and white still. And you still have the ashes falling, which I thought was cool. It's a continuation, and it sets the
it
tone.
It picks up
still.
where they left off from the last episode.
Yeah, well, it brings you right back, and you're still like, oh yeah, we know we still did. We are dealing with death, whatever, blah blah. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Put you right back there. So the Sorrow return to camp. This whole scene was it's heartbreaking, obviously, but it was just damn good. Something you don't see in Star Wars. Actual mourning.
It gives really a very human element to it.
Very much so. It's the first time, really, because Alderaan blows up. There's no time for Sorrow's commander. Han Solo dies. There's no time for a funeral because they're being chased right after everything happens. So there's no time to stop and mourn. This is the first time,
especially
that I can recall, Star Wars is actual. We actually see the mourning process of the sense and depth of loss.
Well, not just that, but like this entire seasons you've been building this up as this almost not quite nuclear family, but something really similar to it.
Very much so.
I don't know. We did see the emotion when Padme dies.
Yes.
And
I'll give you that.
And you have that whole scene. Plus, you have Vader with the no.
Well, you got that. You do have Qui-Gon Jinn who dies in episode 1. It's kind of similar. Okay, that's true. So I didn't think about that.
So we do have a little bit of that.
Right.
But it is the first time that not really so much dealing with the death as it is the emotion afterwards. The death.
Like you actually see
and how
tears.
And how that is a ripple effect because Zeb and Chopper don't know.
Right.
And they're just like, hey, how's it going? And
Sabine throws her helmet. And he's like, what the fuck's going on here? Yeah, exactly. It just captures the moment. I don't know why, and I shouldn't like it, but I actually liked how Chopper went up to her and she grabbed Chopper's hand.
Chopper reached out and grabbed her hand.
Yeah, of all people, a droid, with an emotional response or a moment.
Well, the other thing was Zeb and Ezra, who are always at each other.
Yeah. And Zeb hugs him. Yeah.
I mean, that's how emotional it was. I mean, it was...
Yeah. The brothers who are always picking on each other, in a moment of they lost their dad, essentially.
Like, completely aware of, to how much that loss meant to them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and throughout the series, we've always heard that Sabine, well, even Zeb too. Sabine, Ezra, and Zeb are referred to as the kids almost.
Yeah. Kind of jokingly, but
but that's what the kids came up with. With the gliders, or the kids did this.
Yeah.
So, they're kind of like, so it's kind of father, mother, kids kind of thing, or maybe Uncle Zeb. I don't know. Anyway, but still, it was very capturing, very emotional. Like I said, I don't know why, but I didn't think I would relate to seeing Chopper go grab her hand with his little claw, but it actually seemed fitting. Yeah. That.
Well, I mean, they've always been close in a certain way. Just you always see Chopper as being kind of a dick. So
right, that he's kind of like a cat. Yeah.
I think as you get to slightly to the next scene where you see the rest of them kind of entering the base, kind of hearing how the Empire is reacting to it, and just seeing them kind of was turning to Hera and her just dead face just walking off. I think that really captures part of the moment as well.
And that really moves on to the next scene too, because to me I felt like what's his name, the leader of the Lothal rebellion,
General Dick.
Yes, General Dick. He was being a complete ass.
Yes, he was.
Well, nothing you can do. Well, guess it's over.
We need a plan. Damn it, we need a plan now. We don't have time for this. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not a particularly unusual reaction as we've seen in the Star Wars universe.
Right.
Hey, we're still in the rebellion. We got stuff to do. But we've all lost people here.
I get it. It's just, I think he failed to understand the family dynamic behind it. I think he looked at it as a purely military point of view. But
it's a rebellion. I mean, this is a dude that's been in prison. This is a dude who's lost friends and family members. Yeah. For him, this is no. This is every day. What are we stopping here for?
Exactly. It was just he came across very much though.
With the tone of everything else, it's definitely.
It's like shut the fuck up. Give him 2 seconds. Let him breathe. Give him a couple hours, a day maybe. Yeah. At least. But yeah, it was interesting. Silly. So I don't know. He pissed me off actually. So let's talk about Ezra being chased down by the wolves. I didn't mind the scene, but did you guys think this was a little bit drawn out?
Yes.
A little too long.
Not only like this scene, but especially when you start talking to the wolves, it's a little drawn out.
I didn't mind the talking wolves later, but I thought it was Filoni just trying to show off how wolves hunt or something.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like all they had to do was just chase him way out far and then knock him down, and it would have been fine.
You probably could have cut like a few scenes out of this, a few frames out of this.
I just felt like I wanted to see more of Hera grieving or Zeb and Sabine grieving.
Well, it's just a lot of this seems unnecessary because essentially what happens is he falls asleep and wakes up in like a dream time sort of thing.
Right, pretty much.
Like, really, the entire hunting scene, I mean, is interesting
It's
that they're
cool
angry at him, but
yeah,
it doesn't really add from a like story point of view. You really could have just had him wandering off, like thinking in his thoughts, and just got
lost.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it would have done exactly the same thing plot-wise.
I didn't, like I said, I didn't mind the chase. Just make it short and sweet and simple.
Yeah,
I just
it
thought,
was a little drawn out.
I thought it was. I don't know. I thought Filoni got carried away with that wolf's hunt.
Well, if he has a thing for wolves,
he does. He does. But that was.
It's probably one of those scenes he's had in his mind for years, and it's just like, yes.
It's a minor critique of mine, honestly. But.
Yeah, I mean, the only part about that I liked was the fact that the large wolf does say, "I am Dume," and he's almost talking in full sentences, almost like it's because what we think that it's Kanan.
Yeah,
and that he is. I mean, we have a picture. You can pull the picture.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that here in a minute. We gotta get through a couple more scenes before.
Isn't that it?
We're just talking about the one where he's chased.
This is where he's just chased down in the
field.
and
he gets knocked over?
Yeah.
Where they just like headbutt him.
Yeah, that part is stupid. I don't think we needed it at all.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't mind it, but just make it shorter. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
I'd rather have seen more character, the main characters, and
yeah,
I'd rather seen a dialogue between Zeb and Sabine about what why they're pissed off, and
Well, I mean, you pretty much go to the scene of Hera just breaking down, and then you really could have cut to Sabine and Zeb kind of dealing with that as well, because they're also an integral part of that family dynamic,
right? And maybe even contemplating.
And you really don't
killing
see
people.
Sabine's reaction too heavily, outside of like when they start deciding to actually go survey the city later on.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on. So I like this scene where Thrawn learns what happens. You got that whole thing with him and Price, and Price is like, "Look at my trophy! I got this lightsaber." He's like, "So it's true, okay, that's great, but at what cost?"
Yeah, well, it's also funny because he still has Rook there to inform him of things. Like, you can say, "Oh, look at the big parade," but there's a giant building on fire that's going to be noticeable, right?
Right, exactly.
Like, if he still has like a main informant in the city, it's not something you're going to pull off super well.
Now, we've seen a little bit of it, of chastising of her in the back. This is the first time where he literally turns to her and goes, "I'll deal with you when I get back." I mean, this is like a father. This isn't even like a father scolding a mother. He's like, "I'm going to kick your ass. I'm going to kill you, baby, when I get back.
You have cost me years of work. I will beat the shit out of you
as soon as I get back." And it's almost that fear and intimidation. This is the crueler, darker side of Thrawn that I love too. I love that scene from that Thrawn. What did you guys think about this whole scene? Anyway, I'm sorry, Aaron, Brian. What did you think?
I mean, it was an okay scene. We had talked about it. We said it felt more like Thrawn, the actual Thrawn that we've seen in the books and stuff. The more
darker,
ruthless,
Thrawn.
And you could tell Price was doing the best she could with what she was given. Granted, it was her decision to blow up the stuff.
Yeah.
But she was trying to do the best that she could, and she's like, "Well, in order to stay on top of the people, we have to make it seem like nothing's changed. So let's throw a parade,
right?
And we'll make them go."
Yeah, it's meant to be like a propaganda technique.
Right, and then they won't realize that we've shut down the plants because we have no fuel, so they'll still be under our control, kind of thing.
Right. Exactly.
So I mean, she was doing the best she could with what the situation.
She's trying to paint it.
Right, but I don't think she was trying to hide it from
Thrawn. Okay.
Because I mean, he's obviously going to know. I just think she was trying to do the best she could. She knew she screwed up.
Right.
But she's like, "Here's what I did.
Look, I killed a Jedi.
And he goes, "But you're holding a parade." And she's like, "Well, yes, because we're trying to hide blah blah blah." I don't think she was trying to hide it from Thrawn. I think she was just trying to hide it from the population.
Okay, that's possible. It's a very good point. And she's trying to present her logic to Thrawn anyway. I think Thrawn obviously just bitch slaps her back down.
Yeah, he's like, "You're retarded."
Yeah,
that's just awful.
Yeah, you're horrible. You know, I'm going to kick your ass. So I don't. It'll be interesting to see what happens. And do you guys think that dynamic might play into like a self-preservation for Governor Price to maybe try to turn
It's a possibility.
at some point and help
I
the
mean,
rebels?
Yeah,
It doesn't seem like if Thrawn has his way, she has much room for advancement.
Yeah, that her time is. If she
Like-
really feels that her life is threatened,
Yeah.
do you
Like
think
any
she's
other
coward
person
enough?
in this situation would be downgraded, if not just outright killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if she has. I don't know if she's smart enough
Yeah,
to do it, to be able to go over to the other side.
right.
I mean, it'd probably be in her best interest.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things. Like she'll realize too late. Much like who was the other one that died? Didn't we have one that died?
Oh, but they killed quite a few. They killed those two dumbass commanders right off the bat.
Well, I thought one of them was a girl that they killed.
girl.
Wasn't she a governor?
Oh no, she was. She wasn't the governor. She was under the governor. She's like a representative for.
Oh, okay.
She worked for Price. We hadn't met Price at that point.
Okay, so but they killed her,
Yeah, they killed her off.
and she was going to the other side.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's kind of what I think is going to happen here. Like, it's going to be one of those like, she'll send word to the rebels, meet me here, blah 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 blah.
Right.
But Thrawn will know about it,
yeah.
and then she'll get taken out, kind of thing.
Right. Kind of like
Yeah.
she was.
Just stabs her in the back.
It could be. It's very possible. All right, let's move on. Okay, Hera's grief and adding Kanan to her Calicory. I like that scene.
Yeah.
It was a great little using Chopper as kind of like the little kid, almost asking questions like, "Why are you crying, mommy? Why are you, you know?"
I mean, I probably didn't take it in that childlike interpretation of it, but I could
At
see
least
it.
at the first part, he gets a little bit more logical with her as he goes. But he's, you know, she's like, "You don't understand. You know, it was my fault." It was interesting to hear her say, to kind of go, Kanan was right. It's my fault. He's dead. She's blaming herself.
Yeah.
You know, we shouldn't have started this war.
Mhm.
You know, now he's gone. It's, you know, so she's blaming herself. She's going to that guilt, which I didn't expect that from Hera. I thought Hera would continue to toe her line, but.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those emotional reactions where it's clearly just rejudging things. You have that kind of moment of,
Reassessment.
I really thought we were going to have more time after this.
Yeah. Why did I wait so long to tell him
Yeah.
I loved him? Yeah. What do you think, Brian?
To be honest, I didn't care for the scene.
Really?
Yeah, it was okay, and I like the part that they added. Like she added a little extra totem to the thing for
Right.
Kanan.
Yeah, cool.
I like that part. But I don't think I needed the back and forth between her and Chopper. Like, no, I just blah, blah, blah. I think we could have done with just she added a piece to it, and then said, you know, we'll always remember Kanan, blah 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 blah.
Right.
I wish we had to follow what he said, and just make it real quick instead of the
Drawn out.
Like, it felt like a lot of this episode felt drawn out.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Like with this,
Okay.
with the wolves, everything. It was like it just felt too long
Okay.
for certain scenes.
Okay. What do you think, though, about her blaming herself? I mean, do you find that interesting? Do you think that'll be a dynamic they'll play with going forward?
No,
Of her leading?
no. I mean, I think it's like Aaron said, it's a natural thing that you kind of backtrack and you think, what could I have done differently? I know, like when my mom passed, that's what I did.
Yeah.
What could I have seen, like to get her to the hospital faster, or what did I do differently? What could I have done? And that's kind of similar to what she's going through. Like,
Yeah.
If I hadn't started this war, then
yeah,
Consequences.
it's a bit of
Yeah.
survivor's guilt in some ways.
yeah, and it's not that she started the war. That's bad. It's they joined the war.
Right.
Right. Because Kanan said we've always been drawn to Lothal.
Just don't know why.
That's where I've met you. We've always come here. Well, maybe it's because we need to meet Ezra. Well, no, we were here before that.
Yeah, but there's also an argument that their actions did speed up the process of the rebellion, that it did kind of get it to the openly rebellion stage.
Oh yeah, they're absolutely part of the formation of the rebellion. That's a good point, though, Brian. Survivor Scout point. I like that. All right. Zeb and Sabine scouting the capital. This was a good reveal that that they the only thing I really took out of this scene was that they come to the realization that it wasn't all for nothing. That there was that Kanan's sacrifice did mean something.
Yeah, there was a slight win for the rebel faction in it.
Right, that there is a silver lining and there is hope that they can still take care of the Empire on Lothal now.
Yeah, I like that part of it. Yeah.
So, you guys have anything else? Maybe add?
No, I mean you see, kind of like
than-
they explain out like the situation in the city, the factories being shut down, the first parade.
Yeah.
No, it's just kind of a nice transitioning scene. It kind of gives get a bit of explanation for the entire thing.
Do you guys think it might have taken maybe like the sword out of Sabine's hand a little bit, knowing? I kind of felt like that, just ever so slightly. Like instead of her being kind of like Zeb's still kind of bloodthirsty. I felt like Sabine she came to that realization that.
It gave her a bit of hope. Like it wasn't
all
just
for not
yeah.
kind of thing.
It wasn't just like let's blow up as much shit as possible. Like there was actually like, oh wait, no, we can actually act with intention.
Okay, that's fair. All right. Speeder and the factories are shut down. So this is just kind of an extent. It was just the extension.
Yeah,
where they
essentially you just have them like kind of hijacking the one guard and his communication thing to get in.
Yeah, and then Rook picks up on their scent.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Which is actually kind of a slightly funny scene because you just have him like sniffing at the guard. And he's like, "Oh no, I'm fine. I just got the better." I mean, he's just like, "Dude, shut up."
I like how Zeb's like, "I don't want to look. It's got freaky eyes."
Yeah.
Okay, so didn't Zeb see Rook when Rook chased?
Yeah, because he kind of has like that revelation. It's like, oh yeah, that's that thing that came. He doesn't directly go into contact with it, but he does see it.
But no, but he saw it in
Rook,
not with as much detail apparently.
But he was on the top of that little hill there.
Yeah, hanging there.
And the thing went right by him. Like he had to have seen it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not.
You know what I mean?
Not,
Like it was like, I don't know, but he looked right at me. Blah blah blah. I'm like, you already saw him. Like I don't know.
It's a continuity error in your head.
Yeah, it just felt like I was like, he should already know. Like I can see Sabine saying that because Sabine's never like, I don't know what it is, blah blah. And then he's like, I don't know. It kind of looks like a baby Rancor. And I'm like, you've seen him before.
Well, he comes to the realization eventually, but yeah, he finally goes, oh yeah, that's the thing that.
Apparently there was a night of drinking. He just completely forgot.
I don't know. But that was one of those things that felt like was off, and I'm like. He should have already saw him in that one scene. Like he was literally like maybe 20 yards from him as he went by him.
All right, so let's talk about the next scene where Ezra wakes up and kind of wanders off, and then he's lost, and he does the
eeny meeny miny mo, Brian.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is.
We have been waiting for this thing. We've heard it so many times. We're like,
that's what it is.
What does it mean? What does it mean?
It was a MacGuffin apparently,
and then it's.
I'm just thinking inky pinky.
Yeah, eeny meeny miny mo. That's what the pick a loaf cat bullshit was. I was so pissed about that, and I'm watching it. I'm like, I really like. I'm watching it by myself anyway, but I'm sitting there and I'm like, really.
You know what's worse about this? Is when they get the tab later on, you're just like, is that rock, paper, scissors? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Is that what the Jedi secret?
Yes.
The Jedi secret of rock?
I didn't think about that. It's hilarious.
It's what it looks like, because you have like two open hands and then like a closed fist. You're just like, and you don't see it dead on the first couple of times, so it just looks like rock, paper, scissors.
We'll get to my theory on that.
No, it's clearly a diagram of it being a third level underneath, but like most likely like a Sith level underneath or some shit. But.
We'll see.
But it was funny. I was like, really? That's what it is?
Yeah.
I mean, we even on our podcast, we've gone into other things like, what do we think it means? You know, pick a path, and what is it? It's like, oh, what do we think it means? Is that the path of the Jedi? Is it blah, blah, blah? Like, and nope, it's just something that meeny, miny, mo the kids do.
Now, it could be a misdirection. In all fairness, it could still mean something at some point. But,
nope, it doesn't.
But yes, more than likely it's a red herring that we took hook, line, and sinker because of how they did the trailer.
Yeah, no, because of how it's like set up, even in the show, like you almost expect it to be
like a prophecy.
Not even a prophecy, but like a kid's story that's like almost like a folk legend.
Yes,
that sort of thing.
At minimum, because of the way they do the trailer with pick a path and all is done. You're like, oh, there it is. It's something big, you know. But we took it. We totally they got us on that one.
Stupid.
Hopefully, it still means something, but for all of our time and effort and theories. But that's fan theories. For
Well, the
you.
funny thing is, like, it ended up being such a like thematic part of the trailers. Like, it almost like kind of frames it in some way.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, because then you're like, oh, because then you have the loaf wolves and the loaf cats and the Cleo. They're interacting, and it's meant to be like a part of that like planet's like mythology,
Right.
or like at least folklore or something.
Well,
and you're like,
I dug into it big time. I was like, okay, the Loth Cat's when he's still becoming a Jedi, and the Loth Wolf, that's him growing. You know, it was like I was thinking, oh, progression. Okay, it's symbolic of Ezra. Nope, it's meanie, money, fucking mo.
It's awful.
All
Awful.
right. Okay, so we admit, hey, they got us. What can we say? I don't know what else to say. Let's talk about the setting the trap for Rook / Zeb and Sabine versus Rook. I kind of like how they basically said, well, let's get even.
Yeah.
And they have this whole fight scene, which is pretty cool because we didn't know Rook could make himself
camouflage.
Well,
Or just like his reaction to that was pretty
Well, because
good.
he had the thing in his arm.
Right, which was cool. I'd never seen that in Star Wars before.
Yeah, but it was kind of cool. It was like, we don't feel like fighting the fair today. And he's like, yeah, me either.
Me neither. Boop. It was cool. At first, I thought when she put the thing on the back of his head,
They were just gonna
blow
blow
him up. I was like, oh crap, Sabine's going fucking sadistic.
I'm gonna blow out your brainstem.
I'm like, how are they gonna get this one past the kids?
So I didn't think it was a bomb, but I did think it was like an electrocution charge.
I can see that
like
too.
as soon as she did it, and all
Because
of a sudden
we
he
actually
goes,
have seen that on
all,
like a few different
yeah,
things.
and all of a sudden, and then he hits the ground.
See, I really thought she was because I was like, okay, because my mind's like, he's invisible. She's gonna blow him up. The kids won't see the parts. Only we'll know that he got blown up. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like,
but no, more or less they did the thing where like we knock him out, we draw on his face, we send him out on a dead horse.
But the other thing is he's an assassin.
Yes.
Who gets handled by Sabine and Zeb.
Well, Sabine is a Mandalorian.
And fairly easily by Zeb, once Zeb can see him.
Right.
Yeah, Zeb just essentially overpowers him.
Yeah, I mean, but it was
like he just like tackles.
He's like,
can
can you see him? Yep, sure can. And then it's like it was over.
Well,
it was like holy, like he should have been considering like what we saw earlier in the other episode,
like where he can actually deal with both Ezra and Kanan.
Yes, but all of a sudden he can't fight Zeb.
Yeah. Well,
apparently that was more of a tactical fight, not a brute force.
But again, I am biased because I don't like character Rook anyway. So that whole scene was just dumb for me.
To me,
I thought actually that was a good fight.
To me, it made sense because Rook is more nimble. He's able, but when you get him cornered in close combat, Zeb's got the advantage just because of brute strength. But
well, that you could make the argument because he's kind of
he's
flanked.
stunned.
Is that it kind of limits his mobility as well?
Yeah, he's stunned by the paint grenade. I mean, it is still a grenade, even though it's paint. But I mean, he's still,
like there's some percussion,
still
like to the back of his head.
So I kind of bobbed into that, I guess. But I see your point, though. Definitely that it was a little too easy. The only thing, well, we'll get to that I guess here in a little bit. All right, let's get to the cool scene. Ezra meets Dume. I know you guys thought this was really drawn out, but I loved every second of this scene.
It was fine at first, then listening to the wolf constantly talk.
I didn't mind
that.
It
really just dragged on.
It really bothered you too, though, huh?
Well, no, that part didn't bother me.
Oh, okay.
It didn't bother me.
It was just drawn out to me.
It felt like because we have our theory that it is Kanan,
right? And
so it did kind of feel like like it was like Kanan was like a puppet master for this wolf.
Mm-hmm.
And he was trying to figure out how to form words with his new vocal cords and everything. And he was like, "I am Dume." You know, it was like he was. You could tell he was working hard to try to get. And then it got into like little one syllable words and
suddenly sentences.
You know, why and then fear and danger and you know you could tell he was trying. It's the most we've seen a wolf talk.
Yes.
Yeah, but it has the same speech pattern as the other wolves.
And you could tell it's Freddie Prinze Jr. doing it.
Yeah,
too,
you could definitely tell it was Freddie Prinze Jr. Yeah,
modification.
So I mean, and then we get the picture we got up here where we show the
Kanan symbol.
Kanan symbol is on the wolf's head
and is also on his shoulder. Which is also on our little guy there. You gotta see on the side. I probably can't see it too well, but
probably not.
No, I can't see it.
But yeah, as you can see, it's the exact same symbol. I've never understood what that symbol was. To Kanan, they never really explained it, but it is on the wolf as well. So it's just one more. The eyes are the same as Kanan's. It sounds like Kanan, obviously, and then you got that big symbol on his head.
Now, what
So-
what I did find was really odd about this whole interaction between the two was you could tell that the wolf was getting more and more upset, like vicious, like
Well, the wolves have been kind of generally pissed off at Ezra the entire episode.
right. But this one was more so than the other. The other ones kind of growled. Even in the beginning, the white one never really growled.
Yeah.
This one, it was starting to get like angry, and then right before Ezra wakes up, you can see the wolf's head turn like he was going to bite him, like just kind of and then he's with Kanan, just wakes up like that.
Right.
So I mean, it was kind of.
I love this whole scene. I love the background. I like the music. The starry, forceful kind of look to it. I like how they made the obviously Dume. I am Dume is not like Kanan, but he's 10 times. It's at least 2 times, if not 3 times, bigger than the other large wolves. So he's and I like how you sent me that article, Brian, where Filoni makes the point. He says that Kanan, the wolf Dume, cannot exist until Kanan the Jedi is dead. So they can't exist at the same time. Is essentially what he's saying.
Why?
Because they are both the same. So I believe that
So essentially, this is a variant of a Force ghost.
yes, in a way, in this way,
A
that
forced possession.
almost it's Kanan has made the transformation from Jedi Knight over to the wolf. The wolf is now is like symbolic of Ezra's spirit animal, spirit guide kind of thing.
And also,
Kicking.
in that same article, Filoni also said that the only real ones were probably just the gray ones.
The gray
white
ones.
ones aren't actually real.
Right, they're force. They're
Okay.
yeah.
Or the gray ones?
Yeah, the gray ones were the ones that actually chased him down and knocked him down.
knocked him down
okay.
from the side. Yeah.
The dark gray ones.
Okay.
So it's
And
interesting.
yeah, even in the trailer that we see for the next one,
Yes.
they kind of make a joke about it, and Zeb's talking to the one of the gray ones, and Ezra says, "Only the white ones talk."
Okay.
Right. In the next our preview for
Does that mean like all the other white ones are also most likely something
See?
like Force
And
ghosts?
see, that's what I said. I said I bet the other white one is Ahsoka,
it could be.
and because if you look at the size wise, Kanan was bigger than Ahsoka, and so is this wolf and that wolf.
Yeah, but this is like pretty gigantically bigger than the other wolves altogether.
And
Yeah, but
like it's double the size.
well, it looks like it in this, but when you see it in the preview of the trailer and the other one, the size isn't that much different. Like it is a little bit different. Like you can see them all lined up, and it goes like the big one that we think is Kanan, and then the other white one, which I think is Ahsoka, and then you got the 2 gray ones.
yeah, but I don't know if Kanan's there in that. I think those might all be the smaller ones. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'll have to take a closer.
I mean, we'll see once the episode
Yeah.
comes out, but
But the amount of Force mythology that's being displayed here, that we're now seeing, that
I feel like I'm in the picture.
that this is the transformation that Kanan has gone through. That this was the whole part of the transformation. Now he is almost like this spirit guide for Ezra / maybe like guardian
so
of the light side, as
quick question.
taking the form of
is
a wolf.
is the spirit wolf that he's turned into stuck on the planet, or is that most likely going to move along with
I don't
Ezra?
know. We don't know.
Well,
yet. It's hard to say.
You know what I think? I think that animal is only taking the form of a Lothwolf on Lothal, and that he can actually go into that other realm that we see. And he can go anywhere.
Sure.
But on Lothal, he takes the
Form
form
of
of
a
a wolf.
Okay.
We'll see. I think it's the next couple episodes. Obviously, the other big thing from this scene is you get the placard, right, and you get the hand, the fist, and kind of another hand over top of it.
Yeah.
As you like to say, paper, rock, scissors, which is pretty.
It's the rock, paper, scissors tablet.
which is pretty hilarious. To me,
Well, that's what I originally thought it was when I first saw it, because you don't get it like a very like full shot of it until like towards the end. So you just see like the fist, and you see a hand. You can't quite make out what the other one is.
it is pretty funny.
And how come everybody gets a tablet except Ezra gets a rock tablet?
Like a thing that's the size of its chest.
Yeah.
He's just gotta carry it around.
Like everybody else gets these little iPads. You know, Sabine's got one, and then Price has one, and everybody's got these tablets, and all of a sudden he comes out with a rock tablet, like the 10 Commandments.
Well, in a way, it kind of is it for the Force, I guess. But it's To me, I think it's symbolic of, and I've talked about this over and over again to you guys, and I'm like, you gotta watch it. Go back to Clone Wars, watch the Mortis arc, and where you get the father, you have the daughter, and you have the son. You know, the son is the dark side, the daughter is the light side, and then you got the father over all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to play into that. We've seen the mural of that play out in the previews to the mid-season trailer. I think that's going to happen next week.
I could see it happening pretty soon.
So we're going to find out what's going on. I think it's in...
Well, we have 2 episodes next week too, right?
Yeah, so we got the...
it's definitely going to be in one of them.
The wolf and the door. So to me, the door is that mural.
Mm-hmm.
I think that mural we saw light up, I think actually opens up to that doorway where they do that. We see Ezra go through his force walk into space or whatever it is. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's just a theory. It could be off base, but obviously we're gonna go to the Jedi Temple. I love this shit. This is the stuff I love. This is the meat and the potatoes. This is the Star Wars stuff that I. This is the reason I love Rebels for. So I'm really looking forward to next week and next week's episodes because I think we're gonna go super deep into the back into the Jedi mythology, back to Mortis. I think in some reference, some way, shape, or form.
I wish we'd get new vehicles.
We'll see. We'll see. You never know. So yeah, this was the highlight of both episodes, other than Kanan obviously making a sacrifice. With this, obviously seeing what he made a sacrifice for. Mm-hmm. So this was what he was seeing the whole time, and why they kept saying to him Dume, because he is Dume. He's Dume the Wolf now. So all right. Let's go on. Okay, Sabine's message to the Empire. We don't really know what it is, other than she spray painted him, like you said, threw him on a dead horse or a dead speeder and sent him out.
Yeah.
The only way this works for me, the only payoff that this be, next episode I want to see him show up. Thrawn sees him, Governor Price finds him, somebody, Stormtrooper finds him, and the message that she sends, in addition to all of her other paintings over his body, is a big, giant Alliance Phoenix symbol. That's that orange symbol that the Alliance uses. Because to me, that's the Phoenix rising out of the ashes being the loss of Kanan.
I don't know. I honestly would find it pretty funny if you just see him, like, just wake up in the middle of the desert, looking around like...
On a horse with no name.
Yeah, the hell am I? Because you have that little joke about, like, Zeb, like, did you set the coordinates? Yeah, I totally said it.
Yeah.
Maybe. I think I did.
But it'd still be cool. That, to me, that's the only way this message of hers pays off, in my mind. Anything less than that, I'm just going to be really disappointed with the whole...
Yeah, I agree with you. After you said that I would like to see that happen. The only other thing won't happen. The only other thing that I think would be funny is if she just wrote ha 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 across the front of it, like they do in Justice League.
Justice League,
with across the Robin.
She's now the Joker of the Star Wars universe.
I think that'd be pretty funny.
I wouldn't mind a Joker in the Star Wars universe. It's like Joker-like esque character. Mm-hmm. Anyway, but yeah. So I think I don't know. We'll see. See what happens. See if it pays off. And then obviously we see the finding an answer, and they have a chance. So this is just kind of the reunite. This is where Zeb and Sabine reunite with Hera.
And kind of just report back, essentially.
They reveal, hey, Kanan didn't die for nothing. Kanan completed the mission. And she's like, yeah, we still have a chance. So here we are, they're back in this. Maybe they're back in action. I don't know if this puts the whole team back in action fully yet. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think we're going to continue to see repercussions of Kanan's death on the team as we go, or do you think this is the one-stop shop, move on kind of?
It does seem like it's probably going to be the one-stop shop, move on, because it kind of just like, all right, you have your episode where you kind of have more, and that's a lot even for like a Star Wars thing on the Disney Channel.
Sure. You're
probably going to get back into the action, especially as we're kind of leading up towards the end.
Yeah. What do you think, Brian?
I think, you can obviously tell at the very end of this episode that the Ezra's taking control.
Yeah, he's leading.
But I think what we will see is not so much that Kanan's death has affected anybody except Hera. Like, I think Hera will be hesitant to put anybody at danger. She'll be hesitant to
lead again.
To have any kind of, like, plan that's going to, like, possibly cause anybody harm, like any of her team harm.
Right.
I think she'll be really hesitant. At least I would be in the next couple episodes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because of everything.
But you can tell right away that power vacuum is already filled. Like Ezra's like, she's like, we can still do this, and Ezra's like, and I know where we're gonna start. We're gonna do this, and it's like, okay then.
Exactly, and I think part of the theme of this episode is Ezra kind of getting his ass kicked literally out of his self-pity, and back on track. Essentially, that's the other thing that happens with that whole wolf scene, I think, in the wolves is he's obviously in self-loathing over what's left. What was me? What am I going to do? I've lost, Morning Cane. And this is kind of him. The wolf's kind of growling at him and kicking his ass back onto the path, as it were.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Okay, final scene, and then obviously saving the Jedi Temple, and
which is essentially just Ezra kind of walking in on this and be like, "I know what the first thing we're going to do is."
Yeah, and we get to see the tablet again, which is the three hands, the fist, which I think is the dark side.
Yeah.
And there's another hand, which I think is just the light side. It's kind of out like this, and you got one that's kind of over top of it, which I think is the father. So you got the father, the daughter, and the son again.
Yeah, but it's also because of the shape around it. It most likely is levels to the actual temple as well.
It could very much be, and yes, there could
because
be.
We've seen the first two levels, and they're both kind of open hand levels, so more light side ones.
And I've heard, people tell stories how they've had conversations at Lucasfilm about how, even in history, like when Christianity conquered the Druids, they built their churches on top of, Druid ruins and stuff. So
like the idea is
the
this Jedi
built their temple on top of maybe a Sith. That could be a theme that they.
I think that'd be kind of a cool element to it.
Maybe.
I actually would like that.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. But it could be one, or maybe it's just the third level. Like they raise it up all the way, and Ezra finds it.
Like there's something blocking the way. That's why the hands close.
Yeah, could be or something. I don't know. Well, obviously, I can't wait till next week. I really can't. I mean, I love these episodes, and I couldn't wait to talk about these. But next week is just going to be phenomenal for me as a Star Wars fan. This is why I like Rebels so much. All right, so that's we've really gone through it all the way. What are you guys' final thoughts and grades on both the Jedi Knight and Dune? And Brian, I'll let you go first.
We're doing both or just one?
Just both. Both back to back. Grades, thoughts, final thoughts.
On episode 10, I give an A.
Okay.
I really like the episode.
Jedi Knight. Yeah.
Yep. On episode 2 or 11, however you want to look at it.
Yeah.
Maybe a B.
A B for Dune. Okay.
Yeah, because you had the long drawn out stuff with the wolf, and then you had the extra stuff in there with Hera that I didn't think you needed.
Okay.
And then you had the fight with the Rook that I'm not a big fan of Rook, so I didn't really think we needed that. But
okay. Aaron, what do you think?
My grades would probably be pretty similar to Brian's. The only difference is I actually really do kind of like the emotional Hera impact aspect of it. Like I actually thought that was a good bit to build on. Like it actually really adds to the dynamics of the show going, as it has been and going forward.
Okay.
But overall, I actually think the wolf bit was a bit more drawn out than it needed to be in Dume. So
where would you put one letter grade wise on both?
I'd probably give Jedi Knight an A, and honestly, even the first part of episode 11, I'd probably give an A, and then as it goes on, like with the more wolf stuff, I'd kind of downgrade it down to like a B. Okay.
Obviously, I'm going to give both the 10, both an A, however you want to grade it, look at it. Honestly, it's the mythology. This is the Force stuff I love. This, like I said, that's why I love Rebels, so it was deep on that. Seeing Kanan sacrifice the way he went out, it was done really, really well. It was done the best way it could have been done, I think, for a kid's cartoon. It was just really well done. It was good Star Wars story. Like I said, I think Rebels and Clone Wars is some of the best Star Wars storytelling out there. It's even better than some of the movies, really. And I think this is just further evidence of that, these last two episodes.
Well, you definitely have more time to build on the mythology of the stories than you do with the films.
And that's a fair thing. You only got 2.5 hours most.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I actually think that's an argument for a lot of things transitioning to
Netflix
or like longer series where you have a more book-like element to build on.
That's why I want a Star Wars Netflix live-action series. I want a 13-hour Star Wars movie. Are you kidding me?
Either that or that's something Disney's going to wait for its own streaming service.
Yeah, exactly, right. All right, so where can you find us real quick here on, if you like this podcast, where can you find us? Well, it's real easy. You simply go to www.4midwestguys.com. That's your one-stop shop right there. You've got links to our iTunes, our Podbean, to our Facebook, Twitter accounts. You can follow, like, and subscribe. The YouTube account as well, where we put all these things. You follow, like, and subscribe. If you're on Twitter, you can find us at 4 Midwest Guys. You can find Mr. Ankenbauer at Ankzone. You can find myself at bwillie1977. And Brian, where can they find us on? I believe you got Instagram account.
Yep, at the _real_Ank.
All right, very good. And you got some behind-the-scenes stuff kicking there always. Just some pictures if you're interested. What we do and how we do it, that's a good place to check us out. Just one more little thing there. And also, we would like to hear back from you. So make sure you get in touch with us. I would love some feedback. I know Brian would, and so would Aaron. And what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? What's best? What's working? What's not? We just would really like some feedback. So please leave us a note. Whether it's on the website, there's a place for it there. You can do it on Facebook, Twitter. You can do it on YouTube as well. So please, pull like, subscribe, and do reach out to us. All right, Brian. Well, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. One more thing I wanted to bring out to everybody. Sure. Regardless of what, if you like it or not, if you could just leave us a message. What Star Wars thing you think we should do next? Because obviously Rebels is going to be ending here.
Yep.
And we like to do a weekly podcast. What kind of things do you want to see? Do you want to see more fan theory stuff, and we'll discuss fan theories, or do you want us to go back and do other movies, or do other TV shows, do Clone Wars episode at a time?
The old Ewok cartoons.
Yeah. What do you want us to do on our Rebels HQ? We might change the name of it a little bit, but
probably
we may keep it the same. Who knows? We want to hear from you guys. Tell us what you want us to do.
Absolutely. Let us know. I know I'm contemplating some sort of a Star Wars news show, but we could definitely mix different things with that, and it's something I've always wanted to do. So, reach out to us. Get back to us. So, all right, Brian, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, man.
Aaron, thanks for joining us, my friend.
Yep, no problem.
And this is B. Willie saying, may the Force be with you always.